Okay, so based on the title, I'm pretty sure. Well, obviously, this woman, black woman, wants to know why a black man don't date black women. All right, let's get to. Pretty sure it's gonna be debunkable. Let's get to it.
Everybody, it's Lexi D here coming to you all with another video. In this one, we're going to be chatting about black women, specifically in dating. Are we obsolete? Because it seems like nobody's checking for us anymore. So if you want to keep watching,
Well, that isn't from the studies. That's not necessarily a black woman issue. It may be more so black women, but it's really just across the board that men just typically don't approach anymore.
If you want to hear more, then keep watching and let's get started. So, I'm open to dating again. I have my moods just like anybody else where it's like, okay, I'm good, don't feel like dealing with that shit, I'm happy by myself. If it happens, I'm good. But then, I explored that more and I've been reading this book that's called If I'm So Wonderful, Why Am I Still Single? And in it, in the very first chapter, she talks about ambivalence and basically if you
Think about the title that she just said. If I'm so wonderful, why am I still single? It's not you. It could be high self-esteem, but it could just be you just might be a little full of yourself, or might be just a little too just wait. Is that typically spells I'm just way too into myself. I overthink myself and overvalue myself, and that puts people off. Not just quote unquote weak men, but just people in general.
you are not actually committing to wanting to have somebody that's actually going to hurt you. And so that was something I had to work through. And so I was like, okay, you know what, fine. I'm going to put on my big girl pants and I'm going to own this. I want a relationship. So signing up for these dating apps again, recruiting.
Why is dating apps the first thing she threw out there? Which, well, I'm pretty sure it's the first thing she did. It might be the easiest. Doesn't that say enough about the dating market today that people just tend to go towards the easier? And then compound with what you said earlier, why if I'm so wonderful, that's not easy. So that she just, I feel like she just answered her own question. Everybody wants what's easy, but nobody feels that they're an easy get. So dilemma.
People and stuff, and even interested in a guy who I work with, but I feel like he's not feeling me like that. We'll maybe get into that a little bit later. But anyways, basically I've done things to really illustrate that I'm out here and I want to date somebody. Now I will say for myself, I prefer to date someone within my own race. I do prefer to date a black man. In the past, I have dated men who were not black, but that was like in high school when I was really young. And it's just for me, it's more of a connection thing and having that shared background. I really just want to have true black love. But when I'm being
What do people mean by background when they say that? Is it simply just being black? Because just because two people are black doesn't mean they're going to have the same background and experiences. A black person in Connecticut, I'm not even sure if they're black people in Connecticut, but assuming that their experience is probably going to be a little different than mine. So what exactly do you mean by similar backgrounds or shared backgrounds?
reminded of, this is nothing new because I have been born and raised in Southern California, so these issues that I'm facing are not really anything new. It's just it's more apparent now, I guess, in a sense, or more hurtful, I guess, because I'm getting older, and so I do want a committed relationship that hopefully leads to something more serious and having kids and all of that. So for me, living in the LA area.
Okay, so I almost missed what she just said. She said I'm getting older. And earlier in the start of the video, she said she didn't really focus on having a relationship or put it, her best foot forward, like something like that. That's part of the problem. But people now just wait. I'm not sure if it's just this generation, but they just wait later. When you wait so long, obviously the better ones are going to be taken, and when you're this far at this point in your life, you're probably not going to have much time to dedicate to finding someone. with all the hours that we work today, which are longer hours. You know, all the things that we have, apps, we're just way busier, and also waiting kind of compounds your issue to find someone.
I don't get approached by black men. Like, when I'm out and stuff with my friends, or when I'm out like at a grocery store or whatever, I don't get approached. I don't remember the last time I've actually really gotten approached. And let me say this before I even get to more detail in this video. Listen, it is going to be a little bit of a pity party, woe is me type of situation. I do acknowledge that I have agency in my dating life, but at the same time, I want to acknowledge this big issue, okay? And I'm saying that this is a big issue from my experience and also from the experience that I've seen with my friends, okay? It's not just me who is single in my friend group. Pretty much all my friends are single. I had a house party or I had a housewarming last month. I had a housewarming last month, and there was a lot of people here, and most of them were single, and I can safely say that I think most of them were open to a relationship. So yeah, anyways, I digress. But living here and being in this environment, it's like in high school, it was all the guys they wanted was girls who were mixed with long hair and with like long curly hair. Now it's pretty much still that same sentiment, and I do not fit the prototype of what these men want, of what black men want. I went out to downtown Long Beach a few weeks ago, saw all these cute black men, and they were holding hands with women who are not black. And now, also keep this in mind, I don't have an issue with interracial dating. Where my issue stems, where that comes from, is when a black man says, I will not date a black woman. Let's be real. Yes, I can be angry about that, and I can say how irrational that is and how that's a reflection of self-hate. But at the end of the day, when I'm at home by myself and, you know, it's a Friday night and I'd rather be out on a date or something like that, it hurts. It hurts to be basically told that you are unwanted, that you are not desirable. And you're not desirable because you stick up for yourself, or because I think that you're gonna, I, being the guy, think you have an attitude just because you're black, or you're gonna be difficult, or you're not gonna be open to certain things sexually because of how our culture says this and this and this. And then once more, taking this a step further, it's not like these, so there's kind of two parts to it. There's the good, there's the well, I don't know that I would say good, but there's the black men who are going to be committed to women who decide not to date black women for their own reasons, and are going to be committed to the women who they do choose to date. And then there's the black men who are garbage regardless, who say that they don't want to date black women, but then the reason that they don't want to do that is because they want to be able to get away with shit, and they know, or they feel like they can do that with women who are of other races. Now, it just...
Get away with what? Get away with cheating? Get away with abuse? Get away with stuff you wouldn't want to deal with? Why are you mad that that person wants to date someone else? Y'all gotta just... Right, so first, let's go over why some black men say that they don't date black women. Part of it is because it's actually because of black women. Not saying that they're just terrible, but let's just say you're a black man, you have a black mom, and she wasn't the best person in the world. That is, whether you like it or not, that's going to fuck you up when it comes to dealing with people who just like her, black women. So that's part of the reason why a lot of black men just don't want to date black women. And for as far as she was talking about, where some black men hear that there's a stereotype that they can get away with other shit and they want to date them, that's not somebody you want to date. I'm pretty sure it's not somebody you want to date. Anyway, and that's really just a way to not, talk about the fact that yes, some black people have these horrible attitudes because of where you grow up. That has an effect on you. So it's not sugarcoated.
I'm not bad at women from other races for stealing, or men or something like that. And it's not even necessarily that I'm mad at black men for being so stupid sometimes, because not all of them are like that. It's just hurtful. It's hurtful, and it makes me sometimes feel like, look, I didn't what did I do to deserve this? What did I do to deserve not being desirable? Like, I feel like I did not, I feel like, I feel like sometimes I don't have a say-so. Like, there's certain black men who are not checking for me purely off the strength of me being black. You know, not because of anything else, not because they know that I have certain qualifications, or certain things about me that they would not like or would not gel with them, just off the strength of me being black. And it's so frustrating. And I was crying this week about it, because I was like, look, I'm about to be 28 in a matter of months in December of this year. And while I'm not really someone who is pressed to get married within a certain time frame, I am fully aware that my biological clock is ticking. And even if I do decide that I don't want kids, I do want a relationship. And I just feel like sometimes I keep running up against a wall.
I think part of her problem is it sounds like she wants a relationship to just not be bored.
All that I cannot break through. And it's just, a lot of times when I hear this conversation being had, it's really about like black women, us bashing black men and saying like, how could you dislike black women when you have a sister who's black, you have cousins, you have a mom who's black? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And when you have a kid,
again, if all those black women in your life were not the greatest people, they paint the picture for what you expect other black women to be like. I see it constantly.
Even if they're mixed, they're still going to be half black. And all of that is valid. It's just at the same time, I want to acknowledge the pain. I want to acknowledge that it's hurtful. It hurts to hear that. And it's like, sometimes there's like there's the part of me who just wants to have a really frank conversation with a couple of black guys and say, so what is it? Like, really, what is it? Really, what is it? Don't give me this whole, black women have attitudes, or black women are not open sexually, or what is it? Some of you, I'm sure it's like, well, I don't want to be held accountable, and I know that if I date a black woman, she's probably going to hold me accountable for stuff that I don't want to be held accountable for, and I'm just really immature. If that's the case, own that. But if it's not that, and it's something else, like us having an attitude, to me, that's just not sufficient enough to say that's why you don't want to date black women.
Why is it not? If they feel that culturally black women have attitudes, then how can you tell them that that's not enough? Maybe it's not enough for you because you don't feel like you have an attitude, but you can't tell them that their experience didn't shape them that way.
Pretty much, a lot of men are assholes, but that doesn't mean I'm out here saying, okay, I'm not going to date men because they're assholes. Like, that does not make sense to me. And so I would love to have a conversation with some black men and just say, so really, what is it? Because when you say this stuff, it hurts. Like, it really hurts. And we get mad at it, but at the end of the day, it's like, I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I feel a lot better today, but last night, it was really kind of getting to me. It was getting to a point where I was like, should I just give up? Should I just not bother trying? Should I just should I settle? Because I want to date someone black, maybe I need to just be open to dating someone outside my race, and that's going to be the only way I can get such and such. But what happens there is then I feel like I'm settling, right? And I am settling, and settling to me is worse than not getting what you want, because then you feel guilty. And
Duh. Yes, when you settle, you don't get what you want. That's why it's called settling. I'm gonna excuse that one.
It's this constant pattern of trying to justify why you made this choice in the first place when it's not something that you're excited about. The question here I really want to address is, what the fuck is it about black women that makes us so unattractive? Like, I'm not asking from a place so you can attack me or attack us. I'm asking from a place to genuinely know, because it can't be. It feels like sometimes it's something that's inherent within us, meaning that it's something that we cannot change. I have so many beautiful, black, strong women in my life, so many friends who are single and who do not want to be single, and we are all different in a sense, right? Like, we all have our different things, our different preferences, so we're not the same person. So it can't be something about us Unless it is. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. And I'm not asking this to say that there's...
If you don't know what it is, why would you tell people you're asking the questions that they can't give you certain answers that could be valid answers? I know a lot of single black women too. Some old, some younger, a lot of them older. So why do you have so many single black women in all age ranges? You can't literally point the finger at everybody. But and this is not even a black woman bashing thing, but just that I've noticed that there are so many at every age range. You can't literally put that on everybody else. You can't. It's impossible for it to be everybody else. Am I going to say that black men are perfect and, you know, they have no... No, I've obviously seen black men do some fucked up shit. But guess who's more single at every age group?
Something that I want to tweak about myself. It's just very alarming to me that at some point I feel like I really have no say-so in who I'm going to ultimately end up with. And while that's going to be true in everybody's case to some degree, I think for black women it is particularly hard. It is. Again, this was a pity, woe is me video. And it's just because as much as I could sit up here and try to make this empowering video, and I have made a couple of them, I'm human and I still have my moments where I can't even talk myself through this mess. Two of my friends and I, we like the same guy. We're attracted to the same guy. And on a lighter side, one of my friends was like, are you sure y'all three weren't just really drunk? Like, are you sure that you're not just like desperate or something because you haven't seen a guy in a while that you like, so he seems like a great option when really he may not be a great option?
Seeing a guy in a while that you liked, y'all don't think maybe that could be y'all problem? Maybe y'all are those, maybe, I'm not saying that you are, maybe y'all are those type of women that have this ridiculously long rule, super duper high standards that mean nothing, because a lot of times that happens. So I'm kind of, I don't know if other people notice, but there are things you say in your video that sound like they answer your question.
So there's that perspective, but then there's also the perspective along the same vein that she's kind of right. Not that I'm desperate, but I don't see guys frequently who are up to par. And I'm not asking for something crazy. I feel like that's a whole nother video. But if I'm asking for what someone deems in their mind is reasonable, I'm not seeing it.
What is reasonable? What is up to par? That will settle a lot of your questions.
Not seeing it, and having two friends who are different from me, and we're all attracted to the same guy. Honestly, it sucks. It sucks because it shows, I think,
It's not uncommon though. They had recently had a study that said 80% of women go for the top 20% of men, and all three of you are going for the same guy because he's the first guy all three of you have seen that you are quote unquote up to par in a while. So yeah, maybe that's the problem.
On a bigger note, I guess, it shows that we're out here and we're deprived. In a sense, we are. What?
How are you deprived? You're not deprived. You define saying you're deprived as like someone with access to not 5-star restaurants are deprived because they have to go to McDonald's. You're not deprived. You just choose not to go to the restaurants you can afford or that are near you. So you're not deprived of men. You just remember you have these, up to par, standards that you are waiting for someone to fit and for them to be black. Like, like, let's be real.
I want you to take away from this video, if you're another black woman sharing this sentence.